Story talking to multiple general managers and coaches in the NFL regarding, as he calls it, a get-rich-quick scheme that paid off handsomely. Let's blow it all up, bring in old Brady, and see if it works. Relentless is the best word to describe Tom, said Jason Light, the GM for the Buccaneers. There's some fascinating quotes here. John Snyder, Seattle GM, says, listen, there's a lot less patience than there used to be. I think more people are going to move around and go for it. There's another anonymous executive that says teams are seeing quarterbacks increasingly as commodities like every other position. They're no longer sacred cows. You're good fast or you're gone. And it's interesting. Let's look at the organizations that have been patient with their starting quarterbacks. The Bears and Mitch Trubisky. Jacksonville and Blake Bortles. Tennessee for 4 years, Marcus Mariota. Tampa and Jameis Winston. What did it get you? It's why Baker Mayfield has yet to get a contract extension, and Josh Allen will. Same class. Why? What's Baker done? He's kind of short, not crazy athletic. What is patience getting you? It took him 2 years just to frankly grow up. You hope he continues in that direction with the maturity. Fair or not, Sam Darnold's probably done in New York. Show me where patience, it's like television shows. If by the middle of the second year, you're not gaining traction, you're off the air. And the NFL's the #1 television show. Quarterbacks should be better. They should be. They have Elite 11 camps. They throw 10,000 passes by the time they're 11 years old. People will go out and say, what about Josh Allen, Buffalo? What about him? Pay attention. The last 12 games of year 2, he had 17 touchdowns and 3 picks, and the best arm in football. Yeah, he can throw it further than Patrick Mahomes, and he's 6'6". He's bigger than Patrick and probably runs just as fast as Patrick. Josh Allen wasn't somebody you had to be patient with. 5 games into his second year, by game 6, you're like, whoa. Baker's short, Josh is big. Baker's semi-athletic, Josh is a stud. That's why Baker can't get a contract extension. Why? What's the pay? Sean McVay. Okay, I'm in year 3 with you. You're still turning the ball over. I'm out. Kyle Shanahan and Garoppolo, 3.5 years. You've missed 23 starts. We've seen 2 stories. He's out. Kansas City, stop being patient with Alex Smith, Super Bowl. Joe Flacco was fine in Baltimore. They got impatient. Lamar Jackson, they're winning more. Tennessee was 9-7, 9-7, 9-7, 9-7. Got impatient, got Tannehill. They're better. No more coddling quarterbacks. You should be better. You're getting more snaps in your teens. Show me where patience works. And don't give me Josh Allen. He was great by the middle to the end of the second year. He was putting up big touchdowns, few picks, running around, 6'6", huge arm, hyper athletic, couldn't stop him, and got to the playoffs at 10-6. And that's a big deal for Buffalo. We're not talking Packers here. Okay, that's a 10-6 for the Bills. Second year, Brady was still in the division. That's a thing. Joy Taylor with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
Well, Tom Brady is obviously with the Bucs now, and his relationship with Patriots owner Robert Kraft is still going strong. Brady's back in the Super Bowl, and Kraft is hoping that he gets to raise the Lombardi Trophy for the 7th time. He said, I'm rooting for Tom Brady. I'm so excited. We've had some great communications, and he is such a special human being. We were privileged to have him here for 2 decades, and he's one of the finest human beings I've ever met. Oh. He knows how to lead, and I wish him well. I really hope he wins Sunday.
Because you know what? Bob's legacy, unlike Belichick, isn't crafted by Tom's success. So he is unselfishly rooting for him because it's all about friendship. He already won that. He already elevated. His net worth went up $800 million due to Tom.
Robert Kraft said, I would very much like to be excluded from this narrative. He wants no parts of this future documentary about how he was also rooting against Tom Brady, who did all of those things that you just mentioned for his organization. No, he wants no parts of this. But I also think he genuinely does care about Tom Brady, and he doesn't need the validation.
That's right.
Robert Kraft was a great owner during that dynasty, He did not meddle. He let Belichick do what he needed to do. The only time he intervened was with Jimmy Garoppolo, and it turned out to be the right thing. So, whenever we look back on this dynasty, Robert Kraft is not going to be the problematic part of this dynasty.
No, he's smartly moved. He is just friends with Tommy and loves Tommy.
But even before that, everything that has led up to this, they didn't win in spite of him.
That's right.
And now that the narrative is becoming who's winning this divorce, so, the Patriots relevant, what's going on with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, he is firmly planting himself in, this has nothing to do with me. I have no problem with Tom Brady. I wish him well. I'm not competing against him or rooting against him. That's the right thing to do. I do think it's genuine as well. But look, we're all watching all the time when it comes to these big brands and big names and dynasty and who played a role. And this is a very petty situation. So I see what you're doing, and I like it, even if it is genuine. So rumors that Andrew Luck may come out of retirement and play for the Colts again have been running wild this week. It's a very kind of bizarre story. But Jim Irsay doesn't want fans to get their hopes up, and he's shutting down any reports that Luck could be making a comeback. He said he's more retired now than he was a year and a half ago. He definitely is retired, and there's no wiggle room or rumor or anything, as much as people would like to hear that. Believe me, I wish it was true. And I was hiding some big announcement, but that's just not the case.
That feels right to me. I think Andrew's so unique. We talked about this yesterday. That I just think Andrew's one of those guys. He's not a look-back guy. His life wasn't framed by football. He always had interests outside of football. He was also, I think, the way that he retired, that was a big, dramatic decision to make. And because his personality is the way that he is, I never felt like this was a flippant decision. Right.
But I also tend, when it comes to football, to believe guys when they say they were retired. I thought Gronk was done.
Yeah. I think, by the way, Gronk was done.
Yeah, I think the only reason he came back is because Tom went to New England. To Tampa Bay.
In a warm weather place where his buddy's leaving.
Exactly. And it's probably only going to be for 1 year. So it's an outlier situation. But look, the story was a little sketch to begin with. It's like screenshots and this person who knows this person who knows this person kind of situation. Again, to Andrew Luck's wife, you got to cut that lady off. Whoever, if that was real, you can't have people spreading your screenshots around the internet. But it's also because they're in a situation where they need a quarterback, and they're ready to win right now. And this is a situation, actually, strangely enough, you leave the relationship a little bit too soon, and then they hit it big, which is what the Colts are in right now, a win-now situation. They've got the offensive line, they've got the weapons, they've got the coaching, everything is in place.
It feels a little like Tony Romo. When Tony Romo was with the Cowboys, most of his career, the offensive line stunk. And then they built it and drafted it, and by the time it got great, Tony was so beat up, he left. And Dak got the advantage of the greatest offensive line in football for his career. And it's the same thing. As Andrew got beat up, then they realized it, and then as he leaves, they're like, we got to build our offensive lineup so the next guy didn't get beaten. I just wish Romo could have had Tyron Smith, for 10 years, and I wish Luck could have had the protection. And I think Romo and Andrew Luck were both great.
And I don't think either one of them have regrets about how their career has gone.
They're
both in a great situation and have done well. But there is some of that, and maybe that's where the story came from. There is some of that, what if? But that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
So before Matthew Stafford was dealt to the Rams, he reportedly told the Lions the one place he didn't want to go was New England, but that could be for the best because former Patriot Teddy Bruschi doesn't think Stafford has what it takes to play in that organization.
Oh, boy.
He's just not tough enough. I don't think he's tough enough to be coached hard. Do you realize the mental toughness that Tom Brady had to have for 20 years to deal with Bill Belichick? In that type of coaching, constant pressure every single day. Does Stafford sort of grab you as a guy that could handle that? I just don't think so. So he went to Sean McVay and get his little best friend relationship and go have fun over there. That's fine.
Oh my goodness.
That's kind of harsh.
Well, there's a couple ways you can look at this. He's definitely taking a shot at Matthew Stafford. Little best friend relationship, that's a shot. I don't disagree with him that it does take a certain level of mental toughness to deal with that organization and that structure, that pressure to be coached by Bill Belichick. Yeah, we know he coaches hard, and it's Tom Brady, and he never wrapped his arms around him. He's the greatest to ever do it, and they never had a buddy-buddy relationship, or really even like a close relationship. So that is how he is, and that does take a certain type of person to be able to deal with. That's your head coach, and you don't have any kind of relationship with them. So I do understand what he's saying. But that's not the reason Matthew Stafford didn't want to go to New England. He didn't want to go to New England because New England is terrible right now.
You have no skill people.
No one to throw to. Did you watch last year, Teddy? Like, that's why he didn't want to go there.
Also, I think Belichick was very pro-Cam and Cam friendly. So I do think Belichick sees the changing of the guard a little bit, the harder coaching now. I think McVay was a part of this about 4 years ago. Kind of the rigid bang-on guy stuff.
Yeah, nobody wants to do that anymore. You're talking to grown men who are millionaires and make a ton of money away from the field as well. I also think that another reason he didn't want to go there, Matthew Stafford, is that he doesn't want to be held to the standard of Tom Brady in New England. Like, I wouldn't want to go to New England either. I don't think it's because he's too soft to deal with Bill Belichick. First of all, Matthew Stafford, for whatever it's worth, he just spent 12 years in Detroit. I know you're not